Time to crank up the song because it's almost time for the Midnight Rider. Right there. It's not dog walking music. That's my walking music right here.
Look at him.
I was listening to it yesterday.
It looks like the beard's trying to make a comeback, by the way.
Would you be quiet a second? Let us just take all this in before we get Coach on here. Look at Coach.
Yeah.
He's already in the mood.
Can I look at him? He's humming along. Here we go.
You can't help it. It's one of those songs that it stays in your head the rest of the day.
All right.
Humming all day long.
I tell you what, long before you open the season, you have already generated a little interest among folks that watch our show. Last night in Greensboro, do you think Coach Pry is going to come out to the Midnight Rider? No, I think they're going to keep the Inner Sandman. Thank you.
Amen, yeah. I think that was in my contract.
Yeah. I think that's in everybody's contract, not just yours, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right, how's this been? Being the head ball coach, being the guy in charge, being that big hombre, being number one there. How's that been?
It's been an eye-opener. I definitely have a different job than I've had for 31 years. I walk down the hallway and I see my old job in there with Coach Marv and the defensive staff, which I step in there about 30 minutes a day just to kind of feel like myself again. But it's been awesome. It is a different job, more challenges, different conversations. My calendar looks different every day. You're in such a routine as a coordinator with what you do, in the winter, what you do in the spring, what you do in the summer, preseason camp. And when you do it for 31 years, it's habit. And so this year's been, it's been different, but good.
All right, let's get to your quarterbacks. Now, we put a list on this board the other day, and, man, we needed 2 pages. Now, what are we going to do at quarterback, Coach? This spring game is going to be interesting to watch. Everybody shuffling in and out and making plays, hopefully left and right. So kind of give us a thumbnail of where you are in the quarterback department.
Yeah, the 2 transfers have kind of jumped out front, as I expected they would. But, Grant and Jason both have in-game experience at a high level. And so their composure, their ability to grasp the offense has just come a little quicker. Connor, obviously, is a guy that I am high on. I think he's got some ability at quarterback. There's some things there that are promising. But honestly, I like his skill set in some other places. But Grant and Jason have separated themselves at this point. And, I look forward to watching both those guys on Saturday.
All right. Now, is this Saturday's not D-Day, I'm guessing, for your quarterback situation? You've got the offseason. You've got August. Are you comfortable in your first year, Brent, taking this thing all the way to the wire for week 1 before you determine kind of how you go through with this?
Yeah, what I'm comfortable with is we won't name a starter until we feel like we have one.
There you go.
And that's I do want that. I want that to happen when we're ready to have it happen, because I think that guy is obviously going to be a leader of our offensive football team. And so when he's in place, that's great. We'll run with it, but we're not going to be hasty and because of that. We've got to let this thing play out. We've got 2 good candidates, and they're both working like crazy, investing like crazy. And, it's good to see. And I think they're making each other better. They're making each other better right now.
All right.
So
you've quickly become a friend of the show. And I feel like at this point, I quickly feel I think we need to help you. We need to impart some of Packer's wisdom with you on this particular situation. Go ahead, Pack, because we live by certain standards on the Packer and Durham program, and this is one that you have shared with many people when it comes to quarterback situations, right?
I'm not sure what you
right.
Where
really?
You want me to go with this?
Is this the one where you don't say a word, right?
Well, yeah. As far as starters go, I say nothing. I even to us, I'd say, yeah, you got one about my quarterback. I'd say what? You'll find out in the opening series of the year. When we come out, I see the huddle, you'll find out exactly who my starting quarterback's going to be. I've always had a theory. If I was ever a head coach, and I will never be one, I would never answer that question, Coach, ever. I just say, listen, I feel good about our staff. I feel good about our guys that were recruited. They're all solid guys. They're doing a great job in the classroom. They're working their tails off. Weight room, outstanding. They're in great shape. And you will find out on the very first snap who our starter's going to be. That's what I tell everybody.
I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, I mean, anything I can do for you, Coach. That's me to you.
Yeah.
That's free of charge. Me to you.
You're only like the 150th person that has an opinion on the quarterback situation and how to handle it.
Right. I mean, and it's normally guys who've never coached that are always telling the coach what to do. It's funny how that works out, right? It's like, yeah, okay, great. If you're so smart, go ahead and get a job, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Here's what I do want to know, though. I think of Virginia Tech. I think of defense. You talk about going to that defensive coordinator's room and having the same gig for 30 years and then have that mindset and routine. I think Virginia Tech, I think a nasty defense, flying around, popping in the mouth, special teams out of sight. I know you'd love to get that back to the standard, which is Virginia Tech football.
Yeah, that's important to me. And I believe the same thing you do. That's one of the things that was attractive about this job is, that's part of the fabric here, is playing great defense. Coach Foster did an unbelievable job. And, I was here at the onset of that thing, and it helped shape me. And I think, what we've done at Penn State and Vanderbilt and Georgia Southern and Western Carolina, I think we've been, we've fielded some pretty good defenses over the years. And you couple that with what they've done here at Virginia Tech, and I think that's going to be awful important to who we are as a football team.
Is it three-level leadership, though? I mean, you got young guys that played a role last year, obviously have some game experience. And then you got a guy who's one of my favorite players in this league just simply because of how much he loves college football, and that's Dax Hollifield. I mean, you've got a guy who simply epitomizes everything I think you probably want in this unit, don't you?
Yeah, his mindset, demeanor, approach, it's one of the best I've been around. He is a leader by his effort, by his style of play, and by his approach to meetings and practice. He's vocal. There's not much more you can ask in that department,
By the way, a couple of weeks ago, we had Jack Hurley on the show, who's hitting about 900 on Virginia Tech's baseball team, who, by the way, cracked that top 25 this week.
Yeah.
And he gave us the story.
Job.
Yeah, no doubt. And he told us the story that used to be the neighbor, and said that you were just, your yard was never mowed, you trash in the streets.
I was getting ready to pay him a compliment. I may not.
No, I'm messing with you. And he caught us by surprise with that story and said, oh, yeah, we've known Coach for a long, long time. And lo and behold, both of you end up in Blacksburg. That's kind of a crazy story, isn't it?
Isn't that something? Yeah, my wife reminded me when we got hired here that he was here on the team. And I'll tell you this, the memory came flooding back to me. I would pull in the driveway, and so many evenings that kid was in the yard playing baseball. Mm-hmm. Sometimes by himself, sometimes with brothers or with family or buddies, but he was always out there 24/7. That's a vivid memory about him. And so to see him having success here, it's another example of, guys that live it and love it, and, they got a chance to do special things with a sport they love.
I got to believe that some of this, and we talked about it like right after you were hired and joined us for the first time, now that you've kind of, quote, settled into your first spring, how much of this has been as emotional as you thought it might be? I mean, we've seen some of the fun you've had with Coach Beamer and that kind of thing, but the emotions that you've gone through now taking this job and being back in Blacksburg, is it kind of what you thought it would be, or has it been more of it?
Yeah, probably more so. I had the pleasure of introducing Coach Beamer to our coaches clinic last week, at our coaches clinic. And it was emotional for me.
Yeah.
To get up and introduce this guy that's been your mentor forever, that means so much to you. And it's one of those things, and this isn't a criticism of Coach at all. It's just like, I don't think he has any idea what he's meant to me over the years. And so every opportunity I have to let him know that, I want to do that. And it didn't matter. It wasn't just the 3 years I was here in Blacksburg. It was, the visits to Blacksburg. It was seeing him at the National Coaches Clinic. It was seeing him on television. It was, reading articles about the program and, talking to Bud or talking to Steinspring and those guys. And so, for me, it's easy to walk into a place and have it mean so much to you. There's just so many people and so many memories. When I walk in Lane Stadium, I've got some vivid memories that are, really meant something to me over the years of Lane Stadium and what happened on that game field. So, and there's so many people that come up to me in town that, Coach, you remember when this happened and that happened, and you remember me, and it's still happening all the time. People popping in and I just, it blows my mind. Oh my gosh, this was our analytics guy before there was analytics, and this guy would come over and it would spend hours pumping out data that Bud and I were looking for to help us prepare for an opponent. So, just things like that really strike me and make me so happy to be here and to be the head coach of Virginia Tech.
Coach, as far as Hokie Nation and for all of us, we got our feet up watching the game this weekend. Give us some names of some folks that have impressed you so far this spring that maybe not necessarily household names, or maybe there are. You tell me, of folks that have really impressed you in the spring that you expect to play well Saturday.
Yeah, up front on defense, a guy that is arguably one of our most improved players, Josh Fuga, defensive tackle. Really had some things that we wanted him to improve on through the spring, and he's done that. He's really made me feel better about him playing well enough for us to win and win big games. DJ Harvey, a guy that's embraced the nickel position, a corner that really has a knack for finding the football. When you go 12 practices and somebody at least once every practice, if not more, is finding the football, it tells you something, and you see the investment and the preparation and things that guys are putting in that also is important to me. So there's a couple of guys there that I think, some of those guys we've made some position moves. Keontae Jenkins to our field backer spot, J.R. Walker, field backer, those guys have caught the attention of the staff. I think Breon Murray. There's some guys that are jumping out that that you hope that things start to take shape and you start to feel better about some positions. Offensively, Silas, big Silas at the left tackle spot. So thankful he came back. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's really impressive. I don't know that in my time at Penn State we had a tackle with his skill set. And he's mature. He's got great demeanor. I really love what he's doing right now. I think Lofton at wide receiver has had a really good spring. He's a playmaker, good ball skills, can do things after the catch. And then I've been pleased with Connor Blumrick. We're doing some interesting things with him. Coach Bowen's doing a great job maximizing what Connor can do well. And again, I bounce in that room and I say, well, from a defensive coordinator's perspective, if you're doing this with him and you're doing that with him, that's challenging. And, so there's definitely some guys to be excited about that. We got another practice Thursday, a light one Friday, and then the spring game. So, a couple more opportunities for these guys to keep growing, developing, and showing us what they can do.
Brent, you're going to get all the quarterback conversations going to play out up until it happens. You know that. You've been through it enough as a coordinator and a coach on several staffs. The run game can be whoever wins the job's best friend. And Malachi Thomas has had moments. Keyshawn King has had moments. You mentioned Silas Yancey coming back in the offensive line. I mean, at times in the last 3 years, that has been Virginia Tech's best friend on offense, is the ability to go run the football. Are you pleased with where that aspect of it is as you evaluate throw game and all the things you want those quarterbacks to do?
Yeah, I think obviously that's where it starts for me. I think we have to be able to establish the run. And that starts with our line play, which I'm pleased with the progress at this point. I think Coach Rudolph's doing a great job. Mm-hmm. We're not where we want to be from a personnel standpoint, a depth standpoint. We're still building that. that room, but I'm pleased with the progress. And we've got a lot of great candidates, in the backfield. I think Holston's done a good job. As you mentioned, Malachi. Yeah. Chance Black shows signs. Keyshawn. I mean, there's candidates there. I'm looking for a level of consistency. Again, at every position, but particularly there. What are we going to get when we put you out there? I want to know more closely what you're going to give us, who you're going to be in Lane Stadium on a Saturday afternoon. And we got to keep working that direction where we know more about these guys, and what they're going to give us, what they're capable of, what level of consistency, what level of production. So, but it starts with me. It starts with this unit. We got to be able to run the football. I know how important that is. I know how hard it is on a defense when you can't control the run game. It's problematic, and it creates a lot of issues over the day.
Before we let you go, you mentioned Frank Beamer a while ago. We had some fun yesterday about grilling. And you and Coach put it on them, didn't you? Huh? A little salt, pepper.
We grilled some mean steaks, man. Yeah. Look at Coach put that apron on. He's a pro. I just followed his lead. Look at me. I'm running late. I'm just like, Coach, I'm sorry.
I thought you were coming in there to eat, not to grill.
I did too. Yeah, man. You came in there and slapped it on now. Who you kidding, right? So
I just kept pouring more seasoning on there. Yeah, I kept putting more seasoning and. Coach, he had a method to the madness. I was just slapping it around.
There you go. There's a method to all that now. You can't just go in there and pretend like you know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a tradition that Coach Beamer started long ago. His football clinic always had some of the best steaks going. And when we started talking about it and said, we're going to bring this back, this coach's clinic with these steaks is going to be big. Well, my operations guy comes into the meeting and he says, Coach, we got the steaks all planned out. And I said, well, what steaks are you getting? He said, we're getting 8-ounce sirloins. I said, 8-ounce sirloins? These are football coaches you're feeding, man. So I took our Sam linebacker, Coach Quinn, who's our food expert, and I said, get involved. You get involved in that menu, Quinn. And so the next thing you know, we went from string beans to baked beans. We went from rolls to cornbread, and we went from 8-ounce sirloins to 14-ounce ribeyes. So those coaches got their money's worth.
Do you want 3-star kids? You want 5-star kids, Coach?
Exactly.
We're not feeding hamburger anymore. Yeah. We're going top shelf. Top shelf.
I told him my wife orders an 8-ounce sirloin. What are we doing?
That's it. Next year, we're doing a little bone in. When you go bone in, then I know you've reached the ultimate level.
Shouldn't that be?
Exactly.
Hey, Brent, shouldn't that be the former ops guy had the 8-ounce steaks?
Well, he does. That's not under his job description anymore.
There you go. There you go. Did you moved it to the other guy, right? You moved it to the guy that knows the beef? Is that what the deal is?
Quinn, okay. Yeah. Right. Baked potato, baked beans, cornbread, we got it right.
I like it.
Hey. Always appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing this on Saturday, and you're good to visit with us. We appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all, too. Thank you.
All right, bud. Thanks, you Coach. Bet.